throw back to the 70s, maybe the 60s, but let's not go back to the 30s. Oh, he took some heat in the locker room now, no question.
And Devin Hester returns it on the opening kick.
I don't even want to tell you that story.
Hey everyone, Cam Heyward here, and welcome back to another episode of Not Just Football. We have Hayden Walsh here as well, but today we are joined by Steelers legend, Indianapolis Colts coach legend, Tampa legend, you name it. Coach Dungy, we are just happy to have you on. Appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you so much, Cam. It's good to see you, good to be on with you, and it's just a joy, really, to really be back somewhat in Pittsburgh, where my roots, where everything started, you know.
Well, let's get started. We have to talk about the game that happened a couple days ago. Yeah. Tell us what you thought about the game and what it all played out to.
Well, I told you before the game, I hadn't seen the Steelers defense that I was used to seeing. And in the first half, I saw it. I thought we were on point, very disciplined. Offense was moving the ball, holding it. And it looked like we're right on the way. And then in the second half, things just changed. I thought you have to give Green Bay some credit. Jordan Love, they did a really, really good job of getting rid of the ball quick, precise, a little bit more running than they had even with Josh Jacobs. He wasn't getting it going. They made a couple changes, put the backup running back in, and that seemed to change the tide a little bit.
Coach, I'm curious. See, clearly the defense has had some issues over there. What are you seeing from the defense so far throughout the year that has got you concerned?
I'm seeing just a little bit of breakdowns, just the key situations, communication in the back end. Cam and I were talking about just gap control, getting off your blocks, taking care of your business up front. And it's close, but it's just not there yet. And that's what's got to come.
Coach, in all your years, and, I know you've had different teams year in and year out. What was the stabilizing message when you're coming off a two-game losing streak?
For me, it was, and I learned it from Coach Noll, actually, 40 years ago, playing in Pittsburgh. He would say, there's no magic formula. There's no knight that's going to come in on a white horse. We have to do what we do. And he'd always tell the coaches, if we're struggling, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do less. We're not going to create more stuff. We're not going to add stuff. Let's cut back, make sure we know exactly what we're doing. And I was in Indianapolis one year. We gave up 375 yards rushing in a game in December to Jacksonville. And everybody said the sky is falling. The Steelers are done. We played Cincinnati the next week. We ran 3 defenses the whole game. We won the game. We got back on track, and we ended up going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Whew. We need some of that luck in here.
We did, though. We played 3 defenses, 3 coverages, 2 fronts. We're going to know exactly what we're doing. Everybody's going to be in the right spot. This is just going to be hustle and effort and discipline. And the guys came around. We got a big win, and that got us back on track.
Coach, is that kind of maybe what the answer is? As a fan, I don't understand the game as well as you and Cam do, but communication has kind of been a big thing for this team throughout the first half of the season. Is it almost maybe get simpler so there's not as much communication having to happen pre-snap?
Sometimes you have to do that. They've got some new guys in the lineup, especially in the secondary, guys that are talented, but they haven't played together. And I've got to understand this, and what does this call mean in this formation? And you want to be able to go out and play fast and play free. And I think that's what they need to do. And for me, a lot of times it was, let's cut down, let's simplify. My good friend Leslie Frazier is the assistant head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. They played in Jacksonville about 4 weeks ago. They lost 3 defensive backs, and they were starting 3 new guys in there. And they said as a defense, we can't do everything that we've done. We can't put that burden on these guys. We're not going to do a lot. Let them just go out there and play. And they did, and they shut them down, held them to 12 points. And sometimes there's a lesson in that.
Coach, I got to ask you, though, these jerseys we wore, and I know you've been a part of the history. What did you think when you saw the jerseys?
I said, Now I'm thinking throwback, let's throw back to the 70s, maybe the 60s, but let's not go back to the 30s. And I know the history, and I know where it started and everything, but I wanted to see you guys in that classic black and gold. That's what I always look for.
especially with like playing Green Bay. I think you
Yeah.
just wanted those classic jerseys.
Yep.
I
I
think we
sure
were robbed
did.
at that moment.
I sure did.
Oh, all right. Well, then let's go back. You came out of Minnesota as a quarterback. You go undrafted, and then go on to play with the Steelers. Talk about those early years with the Steelers.
Well, I tell you what, it was just so great for me, Cam. I was a quarterback. I expected to play quarterback in the NFL. The Montreal Alouettes had my rights in the Canadian League, but I said, no, I'm going to see what happens. I didn't get drafted, and I was devastated. And I was about to sign in Canada, and I got a call from the Steelers, and they said, Coach Noll likes smart guys. He likes hard workers. You're his type of guy. You can sign with us if you're willing to change positions. And something I just wanted to play with the best. So I said, let me do that. Everybody told me I was crazy. How are you going to make the team? You've never played defense in your life. So I don't know, but I'm going to try this. And I got to Pittsburgh, and the very first meeting, Coach Noll said, gentlemen, welcome to the National Football League. This is your profession now. You're getting paid to play football. Treat it as your profession, but don't make football your whole life. If you make football your whole life, you're going to be disappointed. And that was the first thing he told us. And he went on to model that for the 10 years that I was there. Strive for excellence, expect excellence, but you got to be a husband, you got to be a father, you got to be a community man, you've got to do everything and not just win football games on the field. And my teammates modeled that. And these are guys I'm looking at that I know are going to go in the Hall of Fame. I've watched them since I was a kid, and they are helping me learn, helping me understand what's going on. But they are just the kind of guys that I want to be around. I want to be around their families. And we just had a bond. We had a group that was so tight. And back then, there was no free agency. So you were a family. And Mr. Rooney and his son, Dan, man, there were just so many great lessons. So spending my first 10 years there, it was just, I couldn't have had a better introduction to professional football.
You got any funny Joe Greene stories?
Yes, I do. Joe Greene was the man at that time. Now, I didn't know it, but he had stuffed a newspaper reporter, Pat Livingston, into a garbage can. He had thrown a football out of the stadium. He had done some things, and he said, Coach Noll had to live with me and help me grow up a little bit. But he told he got mad at one of our guys for getting a retaliation personal foul. And he said, you never, ever should get a penalty being the second guy on something. Something happens to you, take it in, get the number, and then you get back at the guy during the play. You don't wait after the play when everybody's watching. So we were playing in Denver, and this offensive guard, Paul Howard, kept holding him. And Joe, I was in the huddle, and Joe turned to the umpire and he said, hey, if this guy holds me one more time, you are going to go to jail as an accessory to a murder. And the guy said, what are you talking about? If he holds me one more time, I'm going to kill him, and you're going to go to jail as an accessory. Well, about 3 plays later, we didn't know what happened, but it was during the play, and Joe Greene threw a body punch into this guy and knocked him out cold flat. The guard's laying on the ground like that. Nobody can figure out what happened. And after the game, Joe said, that's how you take care of things during the play. You don't get a penalty after the play. So that was my introduction to the NFL.
I'm in shock. I don't even. I mean, that's unbelievable. Coach, is it true your rookie season you had to go in and play quarterback because Terry Bradshaw went down? And are you the only player to throw an interception and have an interception in the same game?
I'm the last guy to do it. I'm sure they did it in the past when they played both ways back in the 30s and 40s, but nobody's done it since the merger. And just to show you what kind of team we have, I had come in there, played defense, didn't never practice at quarterback, and both our quarterbacks got hurt. We didn't have anybody, and I'm saying, man, what is Coach Noll going to do? We don't have a quarterback, and I feel this tap on my shoulder. And he didn't ask me if he said, here's what plays do you know? What running plays do you know? What passing plays do you know? You played on the scout team. You've heard the audibles. So I went in there with 3 runs and 2 passes that I knew that we could call. And I'd never taken a snap in practice. And our guys felt like we could win the game. That's the attitude that we had. We didn't win. Houston beat us. I actually threw 2 interceptions that I'm not proud of. But but the last guy to intercept the pass and throw an interception in the same game.
Oh, wow. All right, in 78, you led the team in interceptions, and you guys won the Super Bowl. What's it like on that defense being able to say you were the guy who had all the picks?
Unbelievable. I'm playing with Mel Blount, who was Defensive Player of the Year. Donnie Shell's in the Hall of Fame now. Mike Wagner, all these guys. And I came in there as a safety. I'm learning the ropes. Glenn Edwards was our starting free safety. And he told me, he said, all you have to do is get back in your zone. And when that quarterback looks, you go. Because he's not going to have time to reload. He's not going to have a second thought. If he starts to aim and cock, you go to the ball. And I started doing that, and the balls came to me. I just had a fun year. And it was so great playing with those guys. But I tell you what, Cam, that people don't realize, yes, talented athletes, but hard workers and smart. Jack Ham, smartest player I've ever been around. Jack Lambert, all the, no teeth and all that, but super smart. Those guys would be on top of the little details. Jack Ham he'd play left outside linebacker. We're back in the secondary, and he'd say, oh, float 36 is coming this way. I can tell the way they're leaning. And he'd be right 90% of the time,
Oh, wow.
And it was just so much fun to be with them.
Okay, so I got to know, though, when Joe did the Coca-Cola commercial, did you guys give him hell for that?
Oh man, Jack Lambert. If Joe Greene, you used to be. Well, come on, man. What is this? Yeah. Oh, he took some heat in the locker room now. No question. No question. No more. It's not Mean Joe anymore. It's okay. It's Coke Joe and Nice Guy Joe.
What was your NFL? Oh, welcome to the NFL moment.
I think my welcome to the NFL moment really was started on day one. And this is Chuck Noll again. Our first practice, Cam, we had 45-minute period block and tackle by the numbers. I still remember it 45 years ago. Number one was your stance. He had every guy on the team get down in their stance. And he adjusted them and, I want you to stand this way, and this is how you're comfortable. You're a DB, you need to stand like this. 2 was approach. 3 was follow through. No, 3 was contact. 4 was follow through. He took every single guy on the team through blocking and tackling that way. Took 45 minutes. And I'm saying to myself, man, Joe Greene been in 9 Pro Bowls, and Coach Noll's putting him in a stance. Jack Ham is the best form tackler in football, and he's got to go contact, follow through. And then 4 years later, when I'm on the coaching staff, Coach, why do we do this? Hey, we're going to do this first time out of the box to let them know that fundamentals are important. You never overlook the little things, and this is how we win. We win with blocking and tackling. We don't win with scheme. And that was my introduction to the National Football League.
I love that.
Coach, how much did Chuck Noll shape your coaching philosophy when you ended up becoming a head coach?
Everything I did was based on Steeler football and how we did it. But the most important thing I learned from him, family was important. His son was around. His nephew was our video guy. He insisted that we be good husbands and good fathers, and he made sure we had the time to do that. So years later, when I'm a head coach and I can set the routine and set the pace, hey, we're going to have family Saturdays at practice. And I did it, and my staff saw it. So Mike Tomlin did it in Pittsburgh. Lovie Smith did it in Chicago. Leslie Frazier did it in Minnesota. And he showed me that, yes, you can be great. You can be fundamentally sound. You can be a detail-oriented guy, and you can still do the right thing by your family. And that was the best lesson I ever got.
You move on, and, we find you as a coach with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And, that staff is kind of revered now looking back, but speak to what a young Mike Tomlin and others were looking at like at that time.
I'll tell you what, Cam, I knew it was going to be a long-term project in Tampa. We'd had 13 straight losing seasons. So I wanted to get some young guys who were energetic. I wanted to get teachers. That's what I'd had. That's what I benefited from in Pittsburgh. So I asked our scouts. I said, I've got a couple of guys in mind. I had coached with Monty Kiffin. Herm Edwards and I had been roommates at the Hula Bowl, and we'd been close. But I said, I need some young, energetic teachers. And so I asked the scouts, who in college fits this bill? And you know what I'm looking for. And they told me about this young linebacker coach at Ohio State, Lovie Smith, and this young defensive line coach at USC, Rod Marinelli. And, that's how I kind of built the staff. I wanted guys that would bring that energy and bring that teaching. Well, we put a good staff together. Herm got the head job with the Jets. He took a couple people, and I went back to our scouts. I said, hey, this is not going to be an easy replacement now. Herm Edwards is special for us. He was our guy. I need somebody special. And two of them told me, you ought to go to University of Cincinnati. This young DB coach there, he takes the guys that Ohio State doesn't want. He turns them into NFL caliber guys. He's something special. So I called 29-year-old Mike Tomlin. Didn't even know who he was. I said, would you come in for an interview? This man came in, Cam, and in 5 minutes, I knew I'm hiring him. He was so just poised and confident and sure of himself. He wasn't cocky, but this is how we do things. This is what I'm going to do. And man, I said, this is our guy. So in our first meeting, minicamp that year, he's got a room of DBs. It's John Lynch, who's been to 8 Pro Bowls by then, Rondé Barber, and we've got all these veteran guys, Donnie Abraham. So let me sit in the back of the room, see how he does. 5 minutes, I said, I can leave. I don't never ever have to come back to this DB room again. You know what he's talking about. The standard is the standard. Here's what I expect. Here's how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to practice. And I just smiled and said, yep, I got something special here.
Are you responsible for any Tomlinisms? Did you give him any of them?
I don't know. I think he had him when he came to me. But the only thing I had, expectations and execution, and do what we do. Don't worry about the noise. And I think maybe Mike learned that from me, and he probably put it in his own words. But high expectations. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to worry about anybody outside the room. Just us.
Before we move on to Indianapolis, what was it like coaching Warren Sapp?
I'll give you a great Warren Sapp story. Now, Warren, it was crazy. I'm at Minnesota, and he is perfect for what we do. Coming out of the University of Miami, Denny Green says, hey, I'm hearing some stories Warren Sapp might drop in the draft. You really need to investigate this. So we do all our homework, and yeah, hey, this guy's a hard worker. He's a leader. He's everything we want. He's quick. He's strong. He's fast. Let's do it. So we've got the 11th pick, and we're set to take him. And I come in Saturday morning, day of the draft, and Denny says, I can't tell you what, can't tell you why, but we can't take Warren. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So we get to the 11th pick in the draft. We draft a defensive lineman, Derek Alexander from Florida State. The next pick, Tampa takes Warren Sapp. And I said, man, not only do we not get him, he's going to play against us for the rest of my life and just kill us. Well, as the good Lord would have it, 9 months later, I'm the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's already sitting there. So we have this conversation, and he's very excited. And I tell him about the defense and how he's going to be Joe Greene. And I said, but for us to win and win a championship now, you and I have to be in lockstep, and you've got to lead the way I want it to be led, et cetera. And he said, well, just do me one favor, Coach. Just draw the line for me. Tell me where you want me. And that's all I need to know. And I said, well, that's good. I'll give you that parameter. He said, but let me tell you this. Make sure you draw the line exactly where you want it, because I'm going to be right on the line. I said, okay, that's fair.
And okay, well then now let's move to Indianapolis. You arrive in 2002, inherit Peyton Manning, but a defense ranked near the bottom of the league. Year one, you go 10-6 in an immediate playoff berth. What was it like in that first year with Peyton?
Yeah, it was sensational. He wanted to be coach. He wanted to win. He wanted to lead, and he was going to do everything that you asked in the way you wanted it. Fantastic leader. But we had kind of just the opposite deal there. We had Peyton on offense, and they had loaded up the offense for years to build around their best player. We had high paid guys, so Bill Poland, our general manager, says we've got to develop defense. It's going to be younger. We don't have money to go out and get star players in free agency. We've got to draft them and build them. So our first draft pick is Dwight Freeney. And then 2 years later, or next year, we draft Bob Sanders. Then we draft Robert Mathis. And we're just getting the pieces together slowly but surely. We're going to be young and fast. And that's the way we approached it. And it took a couple of years to build. But when we finally, in 2005, I think, kind of convinced Peyton, you don't have to take big risks where the defense is going to be as good. And it was '04 actually, and he threw 49 touchdown passes with only 9 interceptions. And that's when I knew, yeah, we're on point. He believes, and we're going to be just fine.
Wait, Coach, you told him not to take any risk, and he still had over 40 touchdowns.
Yeah, because that's what at first he's saying, well, to be explosive, sometimes things happen. And I said, no, we can be explosive, but at the right times. And you don't have to take big chances. We're going to get a defense here where you can punt the ball and you'll feel confident you're going to get it back. And we just kept talking through that. And every year was a little bit better. '02 was my first year with him. '03, it got a little better. We made a playoff run to the AFC Championship game. And then '04, I could tell he really bought into it. And he threw 49 touchdown passes. And I said, hey, we're on point. Then '05 got better. '06 was our Super Bowl year.
What was Peyton's preparation like?
Incredible. I'll give you a story about preparation. So we go to the Super Bowl. We win the AFC Championship game. So you got the 2-week window. The first week you practice at home. The second week you go down to Miami and practice. So we're in the middle of the first week. He comes in with about 7 pages legal pad. Got these plays. We can do this. I saw this. I was watching the Chicago defense. We can do this, and this. I said, well, okay, that's about 30 new plays. I don't know if we can handle all that, but take your top 5. We'll figure it out. And he says, okay, that's a compromise. Then as I'm going out, he's going out the door, he says, oh, and by the way, I was checking the 14-day forecast and it might rain. We ought to practice with wet balls this week. I said, Peyton, there's been 40 Super Bowls. It hasn't rained in one of them. Why are we practicing with wet balls? And then I'm thinking to myself, how do you have a chance to watch all of this tape on Chicago and still check the 14-day forecast? So knowing Peyton Manning, though, I said, okay, we're going to take a couple of days. We'll practice with wet balls up here. Of course, it poured the whole game. It rained, but he was that far ahead of it. He was that was him in a nutshell.
All right, and then that Super Bowl, you're going up against the Chicago Bears, and Devin Hester returns it on the opening kick.
I don't even want to tell you that story. We're practicing for 2 weeks. And Devin Hester, I mean, they've got an okay offense, no real explosion. They got a great defense, takeaways. If we don't turn the ball over and we don't let Devin Hester be the factor, we're going to win the game. That's my talk to the team. So we're kicking. We're every day in special teams, pooch kicks, squib kicks, punting the ball out of bounds. We're not going to let him touch it. We have a chapel service, and the chaplain talks about David and Goliath. And he says, David is the only guy that wasn't afraid of Goliath. The rest of the Israelites were afraid. They hear his name, they'd run. David wasn't afraid. He went right out there, went right at him, took the sling, bam, it was over. So I started thinking, have I made Devin Hester Goliath? Maybe I'm scaring our guys too much. So Saturday night before the game, I said, you know what? I hope we lose the toss. If we do, we're going to kick off and we're going to kick the ball right down the middle to Hester. When you guys pound him and we drop him, it's just going to be just like David and Goliath, and the game's going to be over at that point. So we kick off, kick it to him. 12 seconds later, he's in the other end zone. Everybody on the sideline being like, whose idea was that? So, of course, I blame the chaplain,
Oh, my goodness.
So, needless to say, he never touched the ball again in the
game. Oh, my gosh. Wow. That was a great story. Oh.
I've never heard that.
No, yeah. That's the way it went down. We went for 2 weeks. He is not going to touch the ball. He's not going to be a factor, and I blew it right at the end.
Coach, I want to ask you about a game that is always in my memory of you. It was a regular season game playing against Tampa Bay on a Monday night. You guys were down 21 with 4 minutes to play. Take us back to that game. What happened? And at what point did you actually believe we got a shot to win this thing? Because there's no way with 4 minutes left you really believed, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was my birthday. They're the defending champions. They fired me. The game is on Monday night on my birthday. You know, you couldn't set it up any differently. Team wanted to win so badly for me. We're making mistakes. We go out there, we're down 21-0, just playing terrible. We kind of fight our way back, but then they get a pick six with 4 minutes to go, 4.5 minutes to go, and it's 35-14. So I looked at Tom Moore, our longtime offensive coordinator, old school guy, and I said, Tom, you know, 21 down, maybe we should take the first group out. We wanted to take a chance on getting anybody hurt. He said, I wouldn't do that if I were you. So I said, okay, we'll leave him in there. We get a nice kickoff return. Peyton takes him in. We get an onside kick. He takes him in again. We stop him, and in 4 minutes and 30 seconds, we got 21 points, and the score is tied. And it was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that. But that solidified our team and gave us confidence that it doesn't matter when, what the score was. If we keep fighting, we're going to be okay. So 3 years later, we're in the AFC Championship game, and we're down 21-3 at halftime, or 21-6 at halftime. But nobody is even panicked or worried. Hey, we've come back from 21 points in 4 minutes. We got 30 minutes to go. We're going to be in good shape. And there was no panic in the room. Everybody was just, this is what we have to do, and we ended up winning that one by 4 points, scoring 32 points in the second half.
Coach, that Monday night game though, I was watching that game. I fell asleep with 6 minutes to go, and I was like, "All right, we'll chalk this one up. Then get back on it." Then I woke up and said, "Y'all won," and I'm like, "What in the world happened?" It was so uncharacteristic that like you never really see that. And I know you become more accustomed now because there's more offense, and you know it's a scoring league, but. Man, that was very special what y'all did there.
That was incredible because the thing that I had preached all week, we cannot get behind these guys. This defense and Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice and those guys, they feed on that. As long as we're moving the chains and we're even, we're going to be okay if we can stay balanced. If we have to throw, it's going to be tough. Well, now we're down 3 scores. We've got to throw. Our offensive line did a great job. And it was just unbelievable. That's the only way you can put it.
I have to ask about this, though. I've seen clips of Peyton and Jeff Saturday going at it on the sideline. How, common was that week in and week out?
It was very uncommon. They were very competitive, very smart, and they would, they'd have conversations. And Peyton, was coaching everybody and talking to everybody, and he allowed everybody to have their say. And Jeff, we're playing the Rams on a Monday night game, and Jeff said something like, we run the ball all the way down to the 7-yard line, then we throw 3 incomplete passes. What's up with that? And Peyton took that as he was kind of taking a shot at him, that maybe he was too selfish or whatever. And he said, you just snap the ball and block. And wait a minute now. And it escalated. But to their credit, within 2 minutes, it was over. But, man, when I saw the replay, and I'm watching the defense out there, I don't even know what's going on behind me. When I saw it, I said, what were you guys doing? But that was very rare, but that was a funny one.
You've had a lot of personalities, and a lot of Hall of Fame personalities. Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Dwight Freeney. Just on that team alone, what was it like having those personalities?
One thing I learned from Coach Noll is you have to allow people the freedom to be themselves, and you have to work to everybody. So you can't just say, well, this guy's got a freakish personality, so I don't want to deal with him. No, what's the best way to get through to him? And I remember one of my first games with the Colts, and we're playing somebody, and I made a joke. I said, this corner, whoever it was, Ty Lawson, he can't wait to cover Marvin Harrison. And Marvin came up to me after the meeting. He said, Coach, I don't joke about what goes on the field. So if you don't mind, don't tell any more jokes about me. And I said, okay, I get
Mm.
it. So, I understand you. And you had to work to that. And other guys had different things that kind of got them going. So I think that was the lesson I learned. You get to know everybody, get to understand everybody, give them the freedom to be who they're going to be. Just keep it within the constraints of the team. If we always put the team first, then we're not going to have any issues.
Oh,
And I really got that from Joe Greene. He said, "Yeah, Coach Noll had to let me grow. I was an immature, hot-headed kid when I got here, and yeah, I stuffed a guy, a reporter, in the garbage can, and that would have been a big fine, and maybe you don't play." And Coach Noll said, "Hey, Joe, we don't do that. How do you need to express yourself the next time?" And he worked through some things and let him grow.
but coach, you got to tell me, if you're coaching Joe Greene, how are you handling that situation?
Delicately. Yeah, no, that I don't know how I would have dealt with that one, but we had some different guys, and Coach Noll dealt with all of them, and he taught me that as a young coach that you've got to get the most out of everybody, and you've got to figure out a way to get the most out of everybody. If someone comes through that you can't get it out of, or they can't be a team guy, then that's when you have to move on. But if they want to win, they're hard workers and they're team guys. Let's figure out a way to work with them.
Mm.
Coach, I'm curious. Sorry, Cam. I'm curious. We ask everybody who's involved with this game, so I apologize about asking this question, but I want to go to a playoff game against the Steelers. You guys lost at home, but I want to go to when Jerome Bettis fumbled that football. We've asked Bill Cowher. We've asked Dick LeBeau. What was your reaction to a guy fumbling when he never fumbles and keeping you guys in the game?
They had just stopped us on downs, and they got the ball in our territory with just a couple of minutes to go. And I told Gary Brackett, our defensive captain, I said, Gary, the only chance we've got is to get a turnover. So tell those guys we've got to knock this ball loose. And the first play, Gary Brackett puts his helmet right on the ball. Jerome, it pops up, and something we worked on religiously every day in practice. When you get a turnover, you go up where you get the ball, you go straight ahead. We don't cut back, we don't go across the field. You go straight ahead because all your teammates are coming to the ball. So Nick Harper gets it, and I know he can outrun Ben Roethlisberger. And I said, this is going to be a touchdown, we're going to win the game. And Nick cuts back for some reason, and Ben tackles him. And I just said, man, we've probably done 6 years of drills and we've never cut back. Why did we cut back now? But I still thought we are going to be okay. Pittsburgh defense rose up, stopped us. We missed the field goal. And Bill Cowher and I had been on the same staff in Kansas City for 3 years. And I said, Bill, this is a heartbreaking loss, but if I'm going to lose to anybody, I'm glad it's you guys. Go get this. And they won the Super Bowl.
So is it true that there was a stabbing that happened beforehand, or no?
And I think that's why Nick ended up cutting back. He had had an incident and it cut his knee.
Oh, wow.
And so he didn't think he could outrun Ben, and that's why he cut it back. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I think now that leads me to every year you and the Patriots were destined to play each other. Going into those games, you knew those were going to be a heavyweight fight. What did you tell the defense? Because trying to get a stop in those games were crazy. But then you had to prepare Peyton to play Tom because you knew it was just going to be, lights, camera, action.
Yeah, and what happened to us, Cam, I think going into especially the early years, they were the Super Bowl champions, and we always felt like, okay, we've got to raise our level. We've got to do something different. What I had to convince our guys is, no, we don't have to do anything special. We just have to do what we do and play our game. And we would self-destruct in some of those games. And I finally got to the point where I said, hey, they are not going to lose the games. We have to beat them. Okay, we've got to just play our game and beat them and relax. And finally, in '06, we beat them in Foxborough. And that kind of turned the tide for us. We felt like, okay, we're on the same level. So from then on, they were pretty good games. But the first couple of years we played them, I thought we just went into it too emotional, feeling like we've got to do something special to win this game.
Was there anything you had to do different versus Brady?
Not let him know what you're in. Yeah, you had to really work on disguise. And we had heard all the rumors about, how they do things, and maybe there's cameras, and maybe there's microphones, and maybe they're videoing. They were videoing your signals, so we knew that. We had to change the signals and go to wristbands. But it was really the point of, hey, these guys are very, very good. So are we. We've got to go out there and execute. But the one thing we've got to do on defense, we can't just line up and let them know we're in. We've got to disguise.
And then moving on, you end up retiring, moving on to NBC football night in America. You've been doing it over 15 years now, which is awesome.
Crazy.
How cool is it that you still get to be part of the game in this capacity?
That is what is so much fun, to go out to the stadiums, to see now some of my guys who were young members of my staff and young guys. Now they're in the leadership. When I look at Mike Tomlin, he was 29 years old. I think Dino was 2 or 3 when they, when they came to Tampa, and to see what he's doing, and to see some of the young coaches that I had as interns who are now coordinators. It's just really does my heart good. I had a good chat with Art Rooney at the game. And, when I came as a player, he was a young guy who was just kind of one of the ball boys,
Yeah.
Now he's the owner. It's just, it's crazy. But to keep those relationships going and get to the old stadiums and see some of the fans, it's just really, really great. Can't describe it any other way.
And you got to pick your successor in Indianapolis. What did it mean to watch Jim Caldwell go on to the Super Bowl next year?
That was so special, because I'm trying to figure out, by that time, I know I'm coming to my later years. I want to win. I'd like to win 2 or 3 Super Bowls, but I want to give the team over to Jim when they still have a chance. I don't want to drain it, win it all, and then have him to have to rebuild. So I made the decision that '09 was the year to do it. And then they come out and have that great year, start out 13-0, I think, and go to the Super Bowl. It just really made me feel good. But that's probably, other than winning a Super Bowl, my biggest kind of, I don't want to say pride, but I take the enjoyment out of the fact that off of my staff, that guys on my staff took teams to the playoffs, took teams to the Super Bowl as a head coach. Lovey went to the Super Bowl. Jim Caldwell went to the Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin went to the Super Bowl. So it just makes you feel good that you recognize some young talent, you gave them an opportunity, and they made the most of it.
Did you give any words of advice to any of those coaches in the Super Bowl?
Not really, because they had kind of been through it. When we went to ours, I talked to Bill Cowher, I talked to Andy Reid, and I talked to Mike Holmgren, and I asked them, what's different? What do I need to prepare? And all of them told me, the week is so long. Take your guys down as late as you can. Don't get too caught up in things early in the week. And the pregame and halftime is so different. You got to be prepared for a 45-minute halftime and how you're going to handle that. So they really helped me in that regard. With Mike and Jim, they had kind of been through it. So I didn't go through that, other than just say, be who you are, do what you do, and don't overthink it.
Coach, you retired at 53. Was there any thought or itch to get back involved in the NFL as a coach, head coach?
Not really. I had coached 28 years at that point. I started at 25, which was, rare and unique. And I coached a long time, and I felt good about it. I knew we were going to be in good hands with Jim Caldwell. I missed the camaraderie. I missed the drive of getting a staff together and pointing 53 guys at the same goal. But I didn't miss the day-to-day, and I had young kids who were coming up, boys going into college, and watching them play college ball was really fun for me. So I felt like I had a satisfying career. I never looked back.
You did. And to look at your career, you're in the Ring of Honor of both Tampa and Indianapolis. Which ceremony meant more to you?
They both meant a lot in different ways. Going into Indianapolis, Jim Irsay, when he hired me, he said, we want to win the right way, and realizing that we had achieved our goal. But I think going into Tampa, knowing that they had fired me, And to come back 18 years later and say, even though we fired you, we want to put you in the Ring of Honor. You've been a special person in our organization. That meant an awful lot.
All right, now moving on. I got a couple questions. I'll let Hayden end with his game. But we move now to 2025. Steelers are playing the Colts. Colts are red hot. They're 7-1. Coach, give us the game plan on how to beat these guys.
Well, I will tell you this. They've got a real diverse offense, but I think it starts with Jonathan Taylor in the running game. That's what they want to build off. And they're going to hit you with some misdirection stuff. He's a good zone block runner, but it's the misdirection, the counters and things that really get him going. And then they've got a mobile quarterback who can feed off of that and get outside the pocket. So I think you've got to be a team that stays disciplined and don't give up the big play. If you make them drive and use 8, 10, 12 plays, that's when I think the defense is effective. They have a lot of 40-yard Jonathan Taylor runs, or here's a 40-yard pass off a bootleg. Here's a deep ball to Alec Pierce. Make them be patient. And that is, they're scoring in the 30s every game. And I think the one game the Rams held them down, kept them in the 20s. That's the secret.
And what do you think about their defense, especially with DeForest Buckner and a lot of really good players on that side?
Yeah, and they're playing ahead football, and they know they're going to be ahead. So a lot of it is built on pressuring the passer. I think you run the football at them. I think Jaylen Warren is going to be a big factor. You can get some plays on their corners. They have corner injuries, and if you can get them where they have to defend the run, now you get some one-on-ones. You'll have a chance for some big plays. But I would say defense not giving up the big play, offense run the ball, stay in manageable third downs, and hit a couple of shots against their corners. That's the way you would win this game.
Coach, you brought up something that I feel like is a lost art, and you talked about playing ahead football, and the fact that like offense and defense are tied to that is not always explained to the viewer. Everybody views it as, oh, the defense just got beat, but can you explain why the run game is so important, and then the pass rush becomes a different component on top of that?
Yeah, it really is. Some teams are built, and we built ourselves that way when I was in Indianapolis. We had Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, Edgerrin James, and so we've got the 11th pick in the draft. And I told Bill Polian, hey, we're going to be ahead in games. We need somebody who can get after the passer. So we took Dwight Freeney, undersized pass rusher that people say, oh, well, how can you take him that high? Well, if I was on a different type of team, maybe not. But this team, Dwight Freeney is going to be huge for us in the fourth quarter. We're going to be ahead, and they're going to have to block him when he's teeing off people. And so having an explosive offense, then you want to build a pass rushing, ball hawking secondary because people are going to have to throw to beat you. And so that is complementary football. If you've got a defense that's really stout and tight, now your offense, you think that's how we played in Tampa. We had a defensive team. So we drafted 2 running backs, Mike Allstott and Warwick Dunn. We said, we're going to pound the ball. We're going to use the 40-second clock. We're going to try to run. And we don't mind winning games 13-7, 13-10. If we can have the ball for 36 minutes and they have it for 24 minutes, that plays to our defensive strength. So it is complementary. What type of team do you have on both sides of the ball?
And Dwight Freeney, we didn't get to talk about him enough, but I've always admired him from afar. That spin and that ice pick he put in everybody's back. What was it like seeing that on the sideline, watching him practice it? That is a Hall of Fame move that will be forever inducted to the Hall of Fame. Yeah,
and I have to really credit our D-line coach, John Turlink. Dwight came in. He's got the great first step. He's got the quickness. And so he said, Dwight, we just have to build off that. You're going to beat a lot of guys with speed. Now, what's the next thing you need? What's the counter move to that? And so he just developed that start upfield, get the tackle to lean, and then spin and pick him with the shoulder. And so we perfect those two, and Dwight worked on it over and over and over and over again. And those were basically his 2 moves. I'm going to beat you with speed. I'm going to come back and spin inside. And then when now you got tackles playing. Okay, is it there here? Then the bull rush, and he would just, even though he was short, he'd run over them because they're so thinking side to side, and it was fun to watch.
All right, coach, we have to play a game here. I'm going to give you two options. It's called this or that, and you got to pick one, okay?
Okay.
All right, third down conversion. Who you going to, Marvin Harrison or Reggie Wayne?
Third down, I'm probably going to Reggie Wayne because Marvin's getting doubled.
Okay. All right. On a 3rd and 8, who gets to the quarterback first, Dwight Freeney or Robert Mathis?
Ooh.
They put a lot of money on those, and I would say I'd give Dwight the edge because most time right-handed quarterback, they don't see him.
All right, two
There you
more
go.
from me. Tougher place to coach, Tampa or Indianapolis?
Tampa, really getting the culture changed, getting the mindset changed. We had to change some things around. Indy, they had a lot of parts ready to go when I got there.
All right, then last one. Rather win a Super Bowl as a player or a coach?
As a player was more fun. As a coach was more rewarding. So I think I want to have fun. I say I'd rather win it as a player.
That's what Coach Bobo said too.
Appreciate it, coach. That's all I got, Cam.
Well, Coach, I just want to say thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure to walk down memory lane. We're always big fans of you, and we appreciate what you do for this game and how you keep informing us about this game. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for being with me. Thanks for all you've done in Pittsburgh on the field and off the field. That is so special. That is if there's a heritage of the Pittsburgh Steelers, to me, that's it. That these guys are great on the field. Yes, we're winning Super Bowls, we're winning championships, but we're also great in the community, and you've been that, and I really appreciate that.
Appreciate you, Coach. I really do. All right, well, have a good day.
All right.
Enjoy. Who do you got next? Who's the next game you got?
We have Washington and Seattle, so it should be a fun one for us.
All right.
But I'll be watching you guys from the truck on Sunday afternoon.
All right, we gotta get it done. Appreciate
Yes,
you,
sir.
Coach.
All right, Cam, let's play everybody's favorite game. Ask Cam anything. And remember, wherever you find Not Just Football, please go there. Ask your questions for Cam. Cam's going to say myself too, but don't worry about me. Just ask the questions for Cam. You ready to go?
Ask Hayden Anything.
All right. Ben Lee, 5675. What is your favorite Antonio Brown memory?
Oh, man. When I first got here, I think it was a year after or a couple years later, then he started doing I feel like when he started doing the Call God.
Is that the Business is Booming too?
Yeah, Business is Booming.
Yeah.
That was always cool. I still think when he drop kicked the punter, that was just like AB was already on a different level than everybody. It was like he wasn't going to be stopped in games, and it literally he drop kicked the punter right in his face. But no, I love the way he practiced. I love the way he went about preparing for a game. It just showed how dedicated he was to it. Like there never was there's never going to be another Antonio Brown. But man, if you ever want to learn how to be a top flight receiver, and it's not because of your size, it's not because of your attributes, it's because you work harder than everybody else. That's enough explanation of itself.
Yeah, he was so good too in the punt return. And you talk about the kick. I think this was actually against McAfee. The one that I think is funny isn't when he jumped on the padding on the extension of the goalpost too. Wasn't that a kick return? A punt return
the
against
guard was hanging on the backside of it.
Yeah,
the guard was hanging on the backside, and he kind of surprised her in that. Or you could just go the immaculate extension. I was actually hurt in that game, so I had the perfect view on the sideline. And they're driving, and you're watching the route, and you're like, damn, that's going to be short. And all of a sudden, you see him stick his arm out while being tackled, and you're like, man, that dude was just not going to be stopped in those moments.
I know, guys, everybody's got a great highlight reel, but I feel like his circus catches too with the toe tap on the sideline, like so many things with that guy. Unbelievable player. All right, Money Trees 10. If you could play one position besides DL, what position would you play?
Tight end.
You would actually be a pretty fun tight end to watch. Who do you think you'd be though? What are you Kelsey out there, or are you?
I'm already Darnell Washington.
You're Darnell Washington. You're a little shorter than Darnell too. Is he? He's a little taller than you though, right?
He is.
All right, all right, Chris. I don't know what that is. Cahorn or something, whatever. Best advice you'd give the JV D-line guys I coach. I use your tape all the time to educate them. Sorry, I got your name wrong, Chris. I apologize. Chris Heckathorn. I don't know if I said that right. Sorry.
Just butchering it.
Yeah, I'm butchering it. I'm just going to stop. Go.
But I think, for younger guys, the best thing you can do is just like really preach hands. Everybody thinks it's all just about, strength inside, but like, having good extension, being able to get off blocks is key. And learning not just what you do, but what everybody's doing around you. I think a lot of times, especially as young guys, you just learn, I got to be in this gap. And I think if you're trying to develop a good D line and a good team, you got to know what's going on around you.
What's the biggest thing you need to do when stopping the run? Is it the hands and staying in your gap and then shedding, or what would you say most important thing? Is that's like the thing I think
it's eyes. I think it's your eyes.
Really?
Keeping
them up, or like what exactly? What are you looking at?
So you got to have a target, and you need to key that target. Whether it's going down, whether it's coming outside. There's different blocks you're going to get. You're going to get a slip inside. You're going to get a reach outside. You can get a double where, you get the tackle and guard close to close, foot to foot, and they're coming right at you. You learn to develop all these things, but like you got to train your eyes of what to look at and what to expect to play in and play out. Is it going to be 100%? No, but if you can learn to develop these things, then you're going to be right more times than not, and it allows you to just play fast because I've seen this so many times and I know what to expect. I know that, if a quarterback's staring at me and he sees me and he goes to release, I got to get my hand ready. Or, if he's facing the other way, and he's a left-handed quarterback or he's just going out to the right, I have more time to rush. You can also look at, the stance of an offensive lineman. Is he sitting back? Is he leaning? Is he leaning on his knuckles? Is he a guy who's in his stance? The really good ones, the good D tackles, when they used to play in a lot of play action, you would know when the ball was ready when a quarterback would put his hands under the center's butt. So all that, hard count didn't matter, but once he would show his hands, guys were getting a better get off. There's just little things like that you pick up over time.
The balance thing is interesting to me because I actually just saw a clip before we got on the record today. It was this Sunday where it was a run play, and I'm guessing the guy was leaning a little too far forward. You just stood up, basically took him and shoved him down there. It's interesting to see the different games. I don't know all that's going on, but it was interesting to see. So,
well, on that, if I'm just breaking down tape, I had two tight ends flanked outside of me. You had their wide receiver on the other side. So I'm playing, they're going to block down on me, and he's leaning. You can start to key in on that and try to find, where they're trying to scheme you on that.
I mean, it's just got to be such a bad feeling when you fire out, you just go face plant.
Well, you can't do it every time. You got.
No, I know, but when you see it on tape, it's jarring. Wow, that's just a bad rep. But no, well, thank you, and sorry again, Chris, for butchering the name. I apologize. I'm an idiot. It's not you, it's me.
It's okay.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, now I'm turning to the fun part of the show. Okay. I have two questions for you: one Halloween and one not. How about that?
God, all right, go.
If we were ever to do a duo costume, what should we be?
Step Brothers, probably. Maybe Starsky and Hutch. I think Step Brothers would be funny though. Little Dale and Brennan.
Oh, no Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, we could do Dumb and Dumber. I mean, honestly, we would probably look pretty funny in the tuxes. So yeah, we could do Dumb and Dumber. That wouldn't be a bad one. I'm thinking movie, obviously here. So yeah, Dumb and Dumber's a good one.
I actually bought the Dumb and Dumber costume, and it just didn't fit right, so that's why I didn't wear it.
Oh man, what color did you go with though? Orange?
I had to wear the orange one.
Powder blue. I don't know. I honestly think that would be worse. You probably should go powder blue.
The powder blue, but I was supposed to do it with my wife, and she has the blonde hair, so she was supposed to play Harry.
Oh, she's she's Harry. Yeah, well. You guys could have reenacted that famous toilet scene, maybe, with her or whatever,
Nah, we don't need to do all that.
All right, go ahead. What's your next one?
All right. As everybody should know, you are a married man, and
God,
we did not get a chance to have your wedding. What would be your dream wedding?
it's not that we didn't get a chance to have a wedding. Me and my wife chose not to have a wedding.
But we need to have a wedding.
No, we just chose not to have one. We signed the papers, and we didn't need to do all of that. Now,
what would be your dream wedding? What would Hayden Walsh want for his dream wedding?
This is why we didn't have a wedding, because I don't think in these terms, and I don't think that she does either. I'm worried she's outside listening to this right now. So I don't know. I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest, and it's like no money isn't an object. I mean, probably like somewhere like Hawaii or something like that. Maybe. Oh no. We were going to do that in Amsterdam. That's what we do. That's our favorite place to go. Yeah, we'd go to Amsterdam.
Why?
Yeah. We just like Amsterdam. It's a really cool place. It fits our lifestyle, I guess you could say. I don't know. Well, not like the red light district, but the other stuff in Amsterdam. Certain parts.
Walk it back, please.
Oh yeah. No. Let's just do Hawaii. We'll honeymoon in Amsterdam after. Okay. How about
there you go. Yeah. There you go.
Hawaii. So yeah. What would be your dream wedding?
I had my dream wedding, my guy.
Oh, did you? You did? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that your dream came true on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, good for you. Anything else?
If anyone wants to sponsor a Hayden Walsh wedding and fly him out to Hawaii to get married, please let us know.
I need to talk to my wife about that, though. Like, I don't know.
You think she's going to turn down a Hawaiian wedding?
I mean, if somebody's going to go Hawaii, probably not. But I don't know. But I don't know. I got to talk to her. I'm going to talk to her after this. So I'll make sure I'll get her opinion and report back.
See, I knew you weren't ready for Ask Hayden Anything.
I mean, it's just a ridiculous question because it's not that we just chose not to have the wedding, okay? We just signed the papers, which, by the way, a lot of people come up to me and say, not a bad idea.
Have you ever seen the show? I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent right now. But have you ever seen the one show on Netflix where it's like they either can buy a house or they buy a wedding?
That's what I did.
Yes, you did that. You did right.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It was just hilarious at the time because it was filmed during COVID. So like at the end, they'd be like, well, we went with the wedding. Oh, COVID hit. So we didn't get either.
I wonder if they let them go back and be like, all right, take the money for the wedding, down payment on the house, man. That's
I hope so. It was very sad to watch.
What was that called?
Oh man. I'm not sure. I don't think it got renewed.
It should have, though. Maybe COVID hurt it. Before we get out of here, Love is Blind. Where are you at on it?
Oh, I am. They're at home now. I got to finish before. Oh man, what's today?
Tomorrow's the reunion. So
I gotta jump on tonight. But they are back in the real world. I have to say it has taken a step in the right direction. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened. I
told you.
But
after the first couple episodes, it picks up.
Episodes were like I don't know who the editor was. It kind of threw me for a loop at first on Love is Blind, but there's a lot of funny stuff in this season. And
Sparkle Cameron.
No, I'm not Sparkle Cameron.
Yeah, Sparkle Cam.
I am not Sparkle Cameron.
That's Sparkle Cam. If you lose this weekend, you will be Sparkle Cam.
Any adult that goes by Sparkle, whatever, I need to have a conversation with. Because
lay off Sparkle Baggage. She's not that bad. She's not that bad. Okay,
she's not that bad. But
the nickname's
I wouldn't go introducing myself as Sparkle Cameron.
Fair point, Sparkle Cam. That's what you're going to be now, though. Sparkle Cam.
The only thing the funniest part, I think, and me and you agree, Joe and Ann, right?
Joe and Ann's Ann's the girl that left, she left,
or Anna left. Yeah, but Joe and Nicole, I think. That's
what's her name? It's what's her name? Dang it, I can't remember her name now. This is embarrassing.
Oh man, this is bugging
the
me.
One who's losing her eyesight, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Losing her eyesight.
Okay.
I don't know why I was pointing at the eyes.
We don't have to go on that, but my favorite part has been
Madison.
Oh, Madison. Completely wrong here, guys. But Joe getting completely drunk in Mexico and not knowing where he was in any of it was hilarious to me. When she came back and he woke up and he was like, "Why are you so dressed?" I died laughing because he was just so inebriated he couldn't even make any sense.
I mean, but could you imagine waking up? You just had a day in Mexico. You've enjoyed the all-inclusive resort, and you wake up to it looked like he didn't even know who she was at a time. He's like, "Who is this woman who's screaming at me?" And then there's a camera crew in there. He was totally out of it. But yeah, that was I don't know. It's an interesting season. I'm just ready for you to finish it so we could talk about it.
I'm ready for Love Is Blind Pittsburgh. I don't need to be on it, but I think there would make quality TV.
Thanks for putting there. You don't need to be on it. I mean, we know you don't need to be on
as
it.
like a host. I don't.
Oh, well, okay.
I could help Nick and Vanessa. When they can't show up, me and my wife could just show everybody around. Wow. I don't need to take part in Love Is Blind.
Thanks for clearing that up. I was worried that's what you wanted people to know, that you couldn't participate in it. But
yes.
Well, thank you. Anything else from AHA?
No, but if you have any questions you want answered, please leave in the comments AHA asking Hayden anything, and we will make sure to answer those questions because he is contractually obligated to answer these.
I'm just trying to feed my family. That's all. And honestly, Sparkle Cam, we could talk about this next week. But yes,
we will. All right, guys. Well, that has been our episode of Not Just Football.
Don't forget to give a shout out to our boy or girl.
Oh, we do have to give a big shout out right now. I want to make sure I do that. We have to give a big shout out to our winner of our jersey giveaway. And it is not Hayden Walsh.
I know.
The winner is at Brendan Rowe 9772. I repeat, at Brendan Rowe 9772. Make sure you DM our show IG with your shipping and information. And congrats again on winning. Thank you everybody for playing. We will be doing some more as the season progresses, but thank you so much. And that has been our episode of Not Just Football. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for listening to Tony Dungy tell us these amazing stories. Thank you to Hayden Walsh for telling us his dream wedding. It has been an awesome episode, and I'm putting good juju in the air because we're going to win this week. It's going to be an amazing week. Go Steelers, Not Just Football. See you next time. Like and subscribe too.